Alright folks, here we go. Well, this is a nice tall entrance. I'll take this. Welcome to the channel, guys. It's been a minute. If you're new to the channel, I get up underneath people's houses and I get to pick on their crawl space. I am not the biggest fan of crawl space homes, but in this region over in South Carolina, the foothills, crawl spaces don't do too well. So I remember I used to have a lot of debates back in the day, slab versus crawl space, and people just couldn't convince me enough to even buy a crawl space home. Nonetheless, if you see all the videos I have, those are all crawl space homes. But anyway, let's get back to the channel. So this is actually, look at the height on this. I like this. This is one reason why a crawl space would be great. Look at how accessible everything is. But we're gonna find out what shape this crawl space is in. So you see, most of the time, all these homes have insulation on the bottom side. This region, just not a big fan of crawl space insulation. That's only because we have a lot of humidity, a lot of fungal growth, and a lot of critters, man. Goodness gracious. And they love getting up in that insulation. And most of the time that you actually see insulation that's down, it's because of some kind of critter action. Some kind of critter activity, something that caused it to fall down. Here we go, we got a little, this is called a gravity drain. There's no real drain lines going into it from around the foundation. Well, these bricks around the house, not necessarily a foundation, but this is an old school. Look at this sump pump. Let's listen to what this guy has to say. Oh my. Yeah, the new ones you hear today, you barely even hear them. Imagine hearing this in the middle of the night. Looks like it's got like a vacuum hose. Hey, you know what? Whatever. If it works, it works. But not too sure. Find out, man. We had some good rain yesterday. Goodness. It came down hard. I left another house. I was chilling inside talking with the homeowner, and it was coming down. Goodness. Heard thunder like once or twice. But you know what? Just really decided to make things nice and humid outside. A lot more humid than it is. So check this out. The vapor barrier, pretty much all that dirt should be covered. Completely covered. You don't want to have dirt exposed, because here the ground still produces a lot of moisture. Having too much humidity down here is not a good thing to have. Here's some mice poison. I gotta pause every few seconds to make sure there's no wild animal down here waiting on me. Possum drove past an armadillo just a little while ago. Fortunately, he was upside down. Well, on his back. Down in Florida, I see them all the time. You don't see them too much here in the Carolinas. Or at least on the side of the road. Sad, but that's what happens. Alright, so here, this is a good sign of insulation getting, critters getting in right in there. Everybody has a different take on the insulation. Just not a fan. So this wall is the back of the house. A little bit of water looks like it comes in. Not much. A little muddy there. You can tell they never use pressure treated lumber down here. So you see, I don't know if you guys can tell, maybe on the wire. Look at all that fungal buildup on the insulation all over the place. That's just nasty. People don't realize it. I mean, you're breathing a lot of this stuff in the house. There's no way you're not breathing this stuff in the house. See, this vent is completely sealed off. Something on the other side of this, on the outside. Maybe a deck. See how the water comes in right to the foundation. People say, how in the heck does the water come in? It does. Definitely does. Let me make sure my lens doesn't have a spider web on it. I see one hanging around. You guys let me know in the comments if you own a Crawlspace home. I'm always interested to know what the percentages of Crawlspace homeowners and slab, and what's your take on Crawlspaces? And did you have to spend a lot of money in your Crawlspace because of moisture? Termites? Yeah, I hear the customer. They definitely moved the duck. Look at that. They moved it from over there to over here. That's why I can hear that person upstairs. Let's not be too nosy. All right, my favorite. Here we go. You guys out there, you know who I'm talking about. You guys who hear me comment all the time. A water heater in the Crawlspace. Wow, not my friend. Especially when you don't have plastic. You want to try to tuck that plastic as much as you can, because you can see the bottom right there. Look at that. Oh, that's rusting. You are taking a lot of years off of this guy. Look at that. All the way around. Oof. This ground, this clay, it holds so much moisture. It really does. Especially in a Crawlspace where you don't have any direct sunlight. It's just not dry. It always stays wet. Looks like they recently did some plumbing work. A lot of pipes down here. They get absolutely corroded. This is also a new dryer vent. Oh yeah. You can tell from the lint that's hanging around that was probably leaking. I get into some crawl spaces. I'll open up the crawl space door and it smells fantastic down there. And I could tell their dryer vent's disconnected. I usually come upstairs and let the homeowner know how grateful I am, how beautiful their crawl space smells, and they're kind of looking at you all weird. Yeah, that's a water intrusion right there. See that? That won't pass a wood infestation report if you're selling the house. That specifically, that question is asked on those reports you usually get when you gotta sell the house or even refinance the house, and that's huge. I'm gonna tell you right now, I try to be as optimistic as I can. Oh, look at this. I think, hit me on the comments, let me know. I think that is called white pecky rot. Oof. You guys are gonna blast me on that one. Just let me know. White pecky rot. Yeah, that's one of those where I'm just trying to make conversation here. I just went ahead and threw a pitch. White pecky rot. See the insulation just all falling down like this? It's nasty. Spiderwebs everywhere. This is why I know they say, yeah, but slab houses, you get all these other problems. I'm gonna tell you right now, I just spoke with the realtor. I said, so what's kicking out there? She's like, well, I said, what did these people just get for this house? And she told me 6.5%. I'm like, damn. You know, in today's day, 6.5% is a lot of money because houses cost a lot of money today. That's a high mortgage. And people who are gonna eventually, like I said, I'm being optimistic here. We are hoping maybe in September we get some lower interest rates. I know I put a stretch out there. Hopefully 4.5 would be nice. But a lot of people are going to refinance their homes, and most mortgage companies require what they call a CL 100, which is a wood infestation report. And moisture in some places is required. Here in South Carolina, that is required. And that is called a CL 100 form. Some other states have different forms. That moisture isn't a thing. But if you live in an area where there's a lot of crawl spaces, yeah. See that? You see how that opens up? This tape isn't holding anything. So you're breathing in all that stuff, man. Once again, all the ground down there, all exposed. The bottom of all this condensation pump, you're not going to get the lifespan, look at this, that you would normally get. That's a dried up puddle of water. Well, the AC just kicked on. So this looks like a creek bed. Water definitely finding its way down through here. You can see how they hold up these AC systems. A couple of bricks. Nothing leveled. Even though it probably won't go anywhere, but I don't know. And the thing about crawl spaces is they don't even level these grounds. You can see in here, this is just real bumpy. They don't even gravitate the ground at least to a corner where you can put a well and a sump pump. So that well and that pump is actually over there. But you got a low spot over there. Yeah, you got two low spots here, but check this out right here. That's gross. Look how rusted out all that is. Dang. Definitely gonna need an HVAC system. But these lines, they get covered in dust, mildew. Now, I'm not saying that that's the reason why people get sick. You know, I'm not a doctor, nor do I play one on television, but you see all that fungus right there? And there's some more of that pecky rot. Let me know. I'll even go a little closer. White pecky rot. I don't know. That's definitely a fungi growing there. Yeah, no plastic underneath the unit. Nothing. So folks, this is the reason why I pick on Crawlspace homes. And if you ever have an issue down here, insurance will not cover it. I've talked to too many people in that situation. Been doing this here for the last 18 years almost. Crawling houses. And nothing. I can tell it feels very humid here. Yeah, got rid of the screens and stuck it down here. Might as well just can them now. Anyway, folks, if you got any value in this video, hit that like and subscribe. Hook a brother up. This is how I get recognition from the algorithm. And this is how we get to pass the message around. Teach a little bit about, what's happening inside Crawlspaces. If people are out eventually here pretty soon, hopefully by Christmas time, consumer home buyers start getting it starts getting better around here. I feel like it is. People who are out there searching for houses, whether it's a slab or a Crawlspace home, hope this helps you at least figure out what you're going to have to face when you're dealing with Crawlspace homes, the kind of maintenance, the kind of things you're going to have to look out for. If you are capable, don't trust too much on your inspectors. You know how I feel about inspectors that work hand in hand with realtors. Grab some knee pads, flashlight. If you can, get inside that Crawlspace and see if you're okay with all this. With that air conditioning sitting down right on soil, with that water heater basically rusting out at the bottom, with all this insulation covered in mildew and fungi. Because all this right here is going to cost you money real fast. I'll catch you on the next one. Adios.